have alluvial fans including salt plains. Alluvial fans, here you can see when there is a removal, we will have this cone kind of shape. This is what the alluvial fans. This is what the alluvial fans. So cone shaped deposition at the mouth of wadis, or let's say dry valleys, or let's say just outside the mountain. They are formed when the flood water velocity decreases. They spread sediments, or let's say these fine sediment particles, horizontally or laterally. That was all about with respect to the aeolian landforms. All right, let's begin with the sea landforms. That how and why? Because of the action of sea waves, there will be a erosion, there will be a deposition of sea material. How the sea material will erode, how it will deposit, and what modification it will brought, and what name would be given to that particular modification. Sea landform. So we are discussing about sea landform as of now. So the waves which are generated in the seas, those waves which are generated into the seas, they are the result of wind action. So when the water is there, water will going to move, water will have some sort of wave shape. It's because of the wind which is interacting with the water itself. In other words, the wind is itself putting its energy in the water. So when the water is like this and when the wind is moving like this, so what will happen? Wind will going to lose its energy with the water, and that's how water will also have this wave kind of shape. It's the wind who will determine this. Okay. So waves, those who are generated, they are always being generated by the wind action. And yes, this wind will cause a sea waves. Sea waves are the dominant factor with respect to the erosional and depositional aspect of sea. As wave approaches near to the coast, here you can see this is the coast area. So when the wave approaches near to the coastal areas, its speed would going to decrease. And it will going to try to align with the coastline itself. And yes, with respect to the water depth, if the depth of water is less than the wave height, if the depth of water will be less than the wave height, then the crust will going to curls and it will going to break. There will be a releasing of energy. There will be what? Releasing of energy on the coastline, on the shores. And when the water is carrying rock debris, and when it will going to move like this will be called as what? Swash. And when the energy will be released, and if the water will going to recede back to the sea, that will be called as what? Backwash. That will be called as what? Backwash. So as a result of this swash, there will be a what? There will be a erosion. As a result of backwash, there will be a deposition with respect to the sea waves, with respect to the sea water. So we have what? Swash and backswash, erosion, deposition. Okay. Moving ahead, marine or sea transportation. So we have this word solution. Solution means when the minerals are dissolved in the water itself and they are carried in the water, that will be termed as solution. Then we have this word called suspension. Suspension means fine light material which are carried in the water itself. So that will be called as suspension. Do not confuse with respect to the attrition. So suspension means the fine light materials which are there in the water itself. Then we have a saltation. Saltation means when we have a small pebbles, when we have what? Small pebbles and a stone, and when they are going to bounce at the seabed, that will be called as saltation. And we have a traction. Traction means when the large boulders are there under this action of water, then these large boulders will cause removal of bottom of this particular sea. That will be called as what? Traction. So large boulders and rocks, when they rolled along the soil, when they roll along the seabed. So when they will going to roll along the seabed, that will be called as what? Traction. Okay. So it is just like that process of marine erosion, just like the processes which we discussed in running water, in glacial landform, in aeolian landform, we have the same kind of processes. However, each processes has been given a different names just to distinguish, just to distinguish, just to show difference, just to have some sort of distinguishment with respect to the processes those who are there. So when you heard this term deflation, that means the removal which is caused by the wind itself. When you heard this term traction, that means the large boulders are there at the sea bottom and they are causing removal with the action of water. Yes. So which the each processes, the each name is given, and each processes will have its own different feature, distinguished feature. That's why the names are very important, and the names those who are associated with the topographical changes or processes, they are very much important. Moving ahead, moving ahead. The marine or erosional landform. Let's see first of all erosional landforms, sea erosional landforms, and how they will going to be formed. So we have a headlands and bays. As you know, suppose specifically there might be a possibility that the coastline which is comprised of the coastline could be comprised of different set of rocks. We could have a hard rocks or we could have a soft rocks. So coastline could be, hard rocks and soft rocks, and as a result of this hard rock and soft rock kind of formation, because of the action of water, because of the action of sea waves, what will happen? There will be a irregular irregular erosion. There will be irregular erosion or uneven erosion, you can say. Soft rocks, those who are there, they're going to erode faster, and hard rocks, those who are there, they will have some sort of resistance to erosion. Here you can see, suppose we have a hard rock and we have a soft rock beneath. Okay, so as a result of this, what will happen? That the hard rocks will going to show some sort of resistivity, whereas the soft rocks which used to be like this, these soft rocks which used to be like this, these soft rocks will going to erode. And when we have this erosion kind of intensification, so that's how the bay, that's how the bay are, that's how the bays are formed, that's how the bay is being there. And when we have this part which is near to the bay, which is less prone to erosion, that part will be called as what? Headland. That part will be called as what? Headland. So headlands are actually the exposed to a strong sea waves, the part of coastline which is exposed to the sea waves, which is exposed to the erosional or denudational action of sea waves specifically. And as a result of this, cliff and wave cut platform will be formed. Bays means was, bays are the sheltered areas with constructive ways. Sediment deposition is taking place, and when the deposition is taking place, there will be formation of what? Bays. So when we have this large land, large rocks which is exposed to the, sea waves denudation, so that will be called as what? Headland. Suppose we have a minor crack, then if the crack will going to deeper, that will be called as cave. If this cave will going to, have some sort of uh, hollow which is created here, that will be called as natural arc. Then if it will going to move further, then we will have this isolated part that is being called as stack, and if the stack will subject it to erosion, that will be called as what? Stump. You see all of these. Okay, so let's see what are the dominant wave, or let's say sea wave actions landform or sea landforms. So cliff and wave cut platform. Let's see first of all. See, guys, whenever we have this kind of aspect, let's say this is supposed to be a original part of the cliff. Because of the rainfall, because of the weathering, we might have some sort of some sort of what? Removal. As a result of this, what you can say, the cliff is actually retreating. The cliff is actually what? Retreating. So when the waves attack the cliff base like this is the cliff base. So when the waves will attack the cliff base, what will happen? That wave cut notch forms, abrasion and hydraulic action will lead to the removal of material here in this case. Okay, and cliff will become unstable, it will collapse, and it will be carried away by the backwash. And yes, it will going to leave behind a wave cut platform like this. So this is what the wave cut platform which has been formed because of the because of the forward action and because of the backward action of the sea waves. And when this process will repeat continuous, cliff will going to retreat landwards. It's because of the advancement of these waves specifically. So when we have this kind of appearance, they will be known as